What if I told you that right now, in this very moment, you are broadcasting a complex electromagnetic signature that extends far beyond the boundaries of your skin? What if every emotion you suppress, every belief you've forgotten you hold, every unconscious pattern running in the background of your awareness is transmitting a signal into the quantum field with the precision of a radio tower? Most people think of manifestation as something you do, a practice, a technique, a series of steps to follow when you want to create change. They believe it's about sitting down with a vision board, repeating affirmations with conviction, or visualizing outcomes until they feel real. And while these practices can be useful, they miss something fundamental, something that explains why some people seem to effortlessly attract what they desire, while others work tirelessly at manifestation practices and see little change. The truth is this: you are not manifesting when you sit down to visualize. You are manifesting every single second of every single day. Your manifestation is not a conscious project. It is the continuous output of your entire being, the sum total of your conscious intentions, your unconscious beliefs, your emotional patterns, your body's cellular memory, and the coherence or incoherence with which all these elements communicate. The universe is not waiting for you to get your wishes right. It is responding in real time to the frequency you are being. Not the frequency you think you're broadcasting, not the frequency you wish you were broadcasting, but the actual electromagnetic, emotional, and energetic signature that is radiating from you moment to moment. In quantum mechanics, there is a principle that most people have heard of but few truly understand: the observer effect. It describes how the act of observation influences the behavior of quantum particles. An electron exists in a state of probability, a wave function containing all possible positions, until the moment it is observed. At that instant, the wave function collapses and the electron appears in a specific location. For decades, scientists tried to explain this away as a measurement problem, a quirk of how we detect particles. But the research has consistently shown something more profound. Consciousness itself appears to play a role in determining physical outcomes at the quantum level. The implications are staggering. If observation influences matter at the smallest scales, and if consciousness is not confined to your skull but radiates as a field, then you are constantly collapsing probability waves through the very nature of your awareness. But here's where it gets more complex. It's not just your conscious attention that acts as an observer. Your unconscious mind, which processes millions of bits of information per second compared to the conscious mind's mere 40, is also observing. Your body, with its cellular intelligence and stored trauma, is observing. Your heart, which generates an electromagnetic field 5,000 times stronger than your brain, is observing. All of these aspects of you are simultaneously broadcasting and collapsing probability into form. And if these different parts of you are broadcasting conflicting signals, if your conscious mind says, "I want abundance," while your unconscious believes, "I'm not worthy," and your body holds trauma around scarcity, then what you manifest will reflect that incoherence. You'll get mixed results, partial manifestations, or what feels like blockage. This is why most manifestation teaching fails most people, because it addresses only the conscious layer of intention. It teaches you what to think and what to visualize, but it doesn't teach you how to identify and transform the deeper signals that are actually determining your reality. It doesn't show you how to bring all the different layers of your being into coherence so that your entire system is broadcasting one unified frequency. Over the next 90 minutes, we're going to explore something that most manifestation teachers never touch: the physics of frequency, the neuroscience of coherence, and the practice of becoming aware of what you're actually broadcasting. Not what you hope you're broadcasting, not what you're trying to broadcast, but what is actually emanating from you as an energetic signal. You're going to discover why trying harder often makes things worse, why forcing outcomes creates resistance, why the most powerful manifestations happen when you're in a state of relaxed presence rather than desperate striving. And most importantly, you're going to learn how to detect the unconscious signals that are sabotaging your conscious intentions and how to bring them into alignment. But before we go deeper, I want you to try something. Just for a moment, bring your attention to your body. Notice your breath. Is it shallow or deep? Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders tight? Without changing anything, Just observe. Because your body, right now, is giving you information about the signal you've been broadcasting. Your nervous system is in a particular state, calm or activated, open or defended. And that state has been shaping your reality more powerfully than any affirmation you've spoken. The invitation here is not to judge what you find, it's simply to begin noticing. Because awareness itself is the first step in transformation. When you become conscious of the unconscious signals running your life, they begin to lose their power. The patterns that were running automatically start to come into the light where you can work with them. This is not going to be a typical manifestation video. We're not going to talk about quick fixes or magic formulas. We're going to go deep into the mechanics of how consciousness interfaces with the quantum field, and we're going to explore what it really takes to become a coherent transmitter of the reality you want to experience. If you're ready for that level of exploration, if you're willing to look at the signals you've been unconsciously broadcasting and take responsibility for transforming them, then stay with me. This journey will challenge some of what you've been taught, but it will also give you a foundation for manifestation that is grounded in both science and direct experience. Let's start with what can be measured, not beliefs, not theories, but hard scientific data about the electromagnetic nature of your body and consciousness. Because once you understand that you are not just a biological machine, but an electromagnetic being, the entire conversation about manifestation shifts from metaphor to physics. Your heart is the strongest electromagnetic generator in your body. The HeartMath Institute has spent over 3 decades measuring this phenomenon with precision instruments. They've discovered that the heart produces an electromagnetic field that is approximately 5,000 times stronger than the field produced by the brain. This field extends outward from your body in a toroidal shape, a donut-like pattern that can be detected up to 3 feet away with sensitive magnetometers. But the heart doesn't just generate any random field. The pattern of that field changes based on your emotional state. When you experience emotions like frustration, anxiety, or anger, the heart's electromagnetic pattern becomes chaotic and erratic. The technical term is incoherent. The signal becomes noisy, fragmented, filled with static. When you experience emotions like appreciation, compassion, or care, the pattern becomes smooth and ordered. The signal becomes coherent. Here's what most people don't realize. This electromagnetic field carries information. It's not just a meaningless energetic output. This pattern encodes the emotional state of your nervous system, and that pattern influences the environment around you. Other people's nervous systems can detect this field, even when they're not consciously aware of it. This is why you can walk into a room and immediately sense tension or warmth without anyone saying a word. You're picking up the electromagnetic signatures of the people present, but the implications go far beyond social dynamics. If your heart is constantly broadcasting an electromagnetic signal that reflects your emotional state, and if that signal extends beyond your body into the space around you, then you are quite literally affecting the quantum field in your immediate environment every moment of every day. The quantum field, sometimes called the zero-point field or the unified field, is the fundamental fabric of reality from which all matter and energy arise. It's not empty space. It's a sea of potential, an ocean of probability waves that haven't yet collapsed into physical form. And your electromagnetic field, with its coherent or incoherent pattern, is interacting with that field of possibility constantly. Now let's add the brain into this picture. Your brain generates its own electromagnetic fields through the coordinated firing of billions of neurons. These fields are much weaker than the heart's field, but they carry a different kind of information, the information of thought, focus, and attention. When you concentrate on something, when you visualize or imagine, specific patterns of brainwaves emerge. Scientists can measure these patterns with EEG machines. They've discovered that different mental states correspond to different frequency bands. Beta waves, ranging from 12 to 30 Hz, are associated with active thinking and problem solving. Alpha waves from 8 to 12 Hz emerge during relaxed awareness. Theta waves from 4 to 8 Hz appear during meditation, daydreaming, and the threshold of sleep. And delta waves below factor 4 Hz are present in deep, dreamless sleep. But here's where it gets fascinating. When you enter states of deep meditation or flow, something remarkable happens. Your brain waves begin to synchronize. Different regions of the brain that normally operate at different frequencies start oscillating together. This is called phase locking, and it dramatically increases the coherence of your brain's electromagnetic output. When this happens simultaneously with heart coherence, when both your heart and brain are generating smooth, ordered electromagnetic patterns, something extraordinary occurs. The two fields begin to entrain with each other, creating a unified, amplified signal. This state of psychophysiological coherence is measurable. Researchers can see it on their instruments. And people report that when they're in this state, they feel more clear, more centered, more connected to something larger than themselves. But we can go even deeper. In 1994, a groundbreaking experiment was conducted by the U.S. Army. They collected white blood cells from human donors and isolated them in a separate room from the donors. Then they showed the donors emotionally charged video clips while measuring the electrical responses of the isolated cells. What they found defied conventional biology. The cells responded to the donor's emotional states in real time, even though they were separated by distance and shielded from any known signal. This phenomenon, now called the DNA phantom effect, suggests that there is a form of non-local connection between consciousness and biological matter. Your DNA, your cells, are somehow connected to your consciousness in ways that transcend physical proximity. This is not mysticism. This is documented, replicable science that challenges our assumptions about the boundaries of the self. So let's put this all together. You have a heart that broadcasts a powerful electromagnetic field encoding your emotional state. You have a brain that generates fields reflecting your thoughts and focus. You have cells that respond non-locally to your consciousness. And all of this exists within a quantum field of infinite potential that is responsive to observation. What does this mean for manifestation? It means that you are not separate from the field of reality you're trying to influence. You are a node within that field, a localized concentration of consciousness that is both shaped by and shaping the larger pattern. Your electromagnetic signature is your interface with the quantum field. It is how you communicate with the universe at a level far more fundamental than words or thoughts. And here's the critical insight. The quality of that communication depends on coherence. When your heart, brain, and body are aligned, when they're all broadcasting the same message, the signal is strong and clear. The field can respond to it efficiently. But when these systems are in conflict, when your conscious mind wants one thing, your emotional body feels another, and your cellular memory holds trauma that contradicts both, the signal becomes scrambled. The field receives mixed messages, and what manifests in your life reflects that confusion. This is why you can repeat affirmations all day long and see no change. Because beneath those words, your heart might be generating a field of fear or unworthiness. Your body might be locked in a survival state that is broadcasting scarcity. And these deeper signals override the conscious intention every time. The good news is that coherence can be cultivated. It's not a fixed trait. It's a skill, a practice, a state you can learn to access more readily. And when you do, when you begin to align these different layers of your being, the speed and precision with which reality responds to your intentions becomes startling. Synchronicities multiply, opportunities appear. What you need seems to find you rather than requiring exhausting effort to pursue. But achieving this coherence requires something that most manifestation teaching glosses over. You have to become aware of the unconscious signals you're broadcasting. You have to shine light on the hidden beliefs, the suppressed emotions, the traumatic imprints that are running in the background of your system. Because until you do, those unconscious signals will continue to determine your reality regardless of how many vision boards you create or how powerfully you visualize. In the next section, we're going to explore exactly how these unconscious signals form, why they're so powerful, and most importantly, how to detect them in your own system so you can begin the process of bringing them into alignment with what you consciously desire. There is a signal running through you right now that you're not aware of. It's been broadcasting for so long that you've tuned it out the way you tune out the hum of a refrigerator. But this signal is shaping your life more powerfully than any conscious intention you've ever set. It is the frequency of your unconscious mind, and it is the master controller of your reality. Neuroscientists estimate that the unconscious mind processes approximately 11 million bits of information per second. The conscious mind, in contrast, processes about 40 bits per second. That means the vast majority of your cognitive activity, roughly 99.9996%, is happening below the threshold of awareness. Your unconscious is constantly scanning the environment, evaluating threats, making predictions, running patterns, and generating emotional responses based on past experiences. And here's the crucial part. All of that unconscious processing is generating an electromagnetic signature. Your unconscious beliefs about yourself, your worth, your safety, your deservingness, all of these are being broadcast through your nervous system's baseline state. They're encoded in your heart rate variability, your muscle tension, your hormonal patterns, and the overall coherence or incoherence of your system. This is why two people can practice the same manifestation techniques and get completely different results. One person sits down to visualize abundance and their unconscious whispers, "Sure, you can try, but people like us never really get ahead." That belief, formed perhaps in childhood from watching a parent struggle, is not consciously available. The person might even consciously reject it if you said it out loud. But it's there, running in the background, generating a signal of limitation that the quantum field responds to. The other person visualizes the same outcome, but their unconscious baseline is, "Of course, good things come to me. I've always been fortunate." That belief, perhaps formed from early experiences of security and support, broadcasts a different frequency entirely. And the field responds to that coherence by organizing probability in alignment with it. Most people never examine these unconscious signals. They remain invisible, yet omnipotent. They run your life from behind a curtain, and you attribute your circumstances to external factors, luck, other people's choices, economic conditions, without realizing that the primary variable is the signal you've been unconsciously broadcasting your entire life. So how do these unconscious signals form? The answer lies in the neuroscience of memory and emotional conditioning. Every experience you've ever had, especially in early childhood when your brain was most plastic, created neural pathways. These pathways are associations between situations, emotions, and outcomes. If you reached for connection as a child and were met with rejection, your brain formed an association. Connection equals pain. That association becomes a neural superhighway, an automatic response pattern that fires every time a similar situation arises. The problem is that these associations were formed when you were young, when your understanding of the world was limited, when you lacked the capacity to contextualize or question what was happening. A child who is neglected doesn't think, "My caregiver is dealing with their own trauma and it's not about me." The child thinks, "I'm not worth caring for." That conclusion becomes a belief. The belief becomes an identity, and the identity broadcasts a frequency. These early conclusions are particularly powerful because they form the foundation of your self-concept. They become the lens through which you interpret everything that happens to you. If your unconscious belief is, "I'm not enough," then no amount of achievement will feel satisfying. You'll always find evidence that confirms the belief because your nervous system is actively filtering reality to maintain coherence with its core programming. This is called confirmation bias in psychology, but it's more than just a cognitive quirk. It's a manifestation of how your electromagnetic field interfaces with the quantum field. Your baseline frequency attracts experiences that resonate with it, not because the universe is punishing you, but because resonance is a fundamental principle of physics. Like frequencies amplify each other, dissonant frequencies create interference patterns. Now here's where most people get stuck when they learn this. They think, "Oh no, I have unconscious beliefs that are limiting me. I need to dig them all up and fix them before I can manifest anything." And they spiral into analysis paralysis, endlessly examining their psyche, looking for the hidden block that's preventing their breakthrough. But this approach misses something crucial. Your unconscious beliefs are not the enemy. They were survival strategies. They were your young self's best attempt to make sense of a confusing world and stay safe. The belief, "I'm not enough," might have kept you striving, achieving, trying to prove your worth, and that drive might have led to real accomplishments. The belief, "Don't trust anyone," might have protected you from further harm when you were vulnerable. The point is not to judge these beliefs or to wage war against your unconscious. The point is to bring awareness to them so they can be updated. Your unconscious formed these patterns with limited information. It made conclusions based on a child's perspective. But you're not that child anymore. You have access to more resources, more understanding, more capacity. The unconscious just hasn't realized this yet because no one has told it. This is where the real work of manifestation begins, not in creating a new vision of what you want, but in excavating the beliefs that are preventing that vision from manifesting. Not through violent confrontation, but through gentle inquiry and compassionate updating. There are several ways to detect these unconscious signals. The first is through your emotional reactions. Anytime you have an emotional response that seems disproportionate to the situation, rage at a minor slight, devastation at a small rejection, terror at a manageable risk, you've bumped into an unconscious belief. That emotion is not about the present moment. It's about an old wound being triggered, an old pattern being activated. The second way to detect unconscious signals is through repetitive patterns in your life. Do you keep attracting the same type of romantic partner who ultimately disappoints you? Do you repeatedly find yourself in work situations where you feel undervalued? Do you start projects with enthusiasm only to sabotage them just before completion? These patterns are not random. They're the visible manifestation of an invisible frequency you're broadcasting. The third way is through your body. Your body holds emotional memory in its tissues, its fascia, its nervous system. Chronic tension in your shoulders might be holding the weight of responsibility you took on too young. Pain in your lower back might be related to feeling unsupported. Digestive issues might reflect difficulty processing emotions or experiences. These somatic signals are clues to what's running unconsciously. The fourth way, and perhaps the most direct, is through meditation and self-inquiry. When you create space to simply observe your thoughts without judgment, patterns begin to emerge. Recurring worries, habitual thought loops, automatic stories you tell yourself about who you are and what's possible, these are all expressions of unconscious programming. But here's the key. Awareness itself begins the transformation. The moment you shine the light of conscious attention on an unconscious pattern, it starts to lose its absolute power. It moves from being an invisible controller to being a visible option. You can still choose to believe it or act from it, but now it's a choice rather than an inevitability. This process of making the unconscious conscious is not comfortable. It requires you to feel things you've been avoiding, to question stories that have defined you, to sit with the uncertainty of not knowing who you are without those familiar patterns. But this discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something is shifting. The old signal is being disrupted, and there's a moment of static before the new signal becomes clear. And this is where most people quit. They start the process of examining their unconscious. They feel the discomfort of old patterns being challenged, and they interpret that discomfort as evidence that they're doing something wrong. So they retreat back to familiar territory, back to the known suffering of their old patterns, because at least it's predictable. But if you can stay with the process, if you can tolerate the discomfort of transformation, something remarkable happens. The unconscious signals that were running your life begin to update. The neural pathways start to rewire. The emotional patterns begin to shift. And most importantly, the electromagnetic signature you're broadcasting changes. What was once a frequency of limitation or fear or unworthiness gradually becomes a frequency of possibility, trust, and inherent value. This is not instantaneous. The brain changes through repetition and consistency, not through single insights or dramatic breakthroughs. But with practice, with patient self-inquiry and compassionate updating of old beliefs, the signal beneath the signal changes. And when that changes, everything in your external reality begins to reorganize itself to match the new frequency. In the next section, we're going to explore specific practices for detecting and transforming these unconscious signals. You'll learn how to create a dialogue between your conscious and unconscious mind, how to use your body as a biofeedback device, and how to practice coherence in a way that naturally aligns all layers of your being. There is a pervasive and damaging myth in the manifestation community, and it goes something like this. If you just think positive thoughts, if you maintain a high vibration, if you never allow yourself to feel negative emotions, then you'll manifest your desires effortlessly. This teaching sounds appealing. It promises a simple formula, but it's fundamentally flawed, and it causes immense suffering to people who take it seriously. Let me be clear. Positive thinking is not the problem. Optimism, hope, and focusing on possibility are valuable. The problem is the underlying message that negative emotions are dangerous, that they'll contaminate your manifestation, that you must suppress or override them to maintain the right frequency. This creates a psychological trap where people are now not only dealing with their original challenges, but also judging themselves for having natural human responses to those challenges. Imagine you're facing a difficult situation. Maybe a relationship is ending, or you're struggling financially, or you're dealing with a health issue. You're feeling sad, scared, or angry, which are completely appropriate responses. But you've been taught that these emotions are low vibrational and will attract more negativity. So you try to paper over them with affirmations. You force yourself to smile and recite, "I am abundant," while your body is screaming about scarcity. You post gratitude lists on social media while privately feeling desperate. What's happening in this scenario? You're creating massive incoherence. Your conscious mind is saying one thing. Your emotional body is feeling another. Your nervous system is in a state of stress from both the original challenge and the effort to suppress your natural response to it. And all of this incoherence is being broadcast as a scrambled signal into the quantum field. The field doesn't respond to the words you're saying. It responds to the state you're in. And when you're in a state of pretending everything is fine while internally struggling, the message the field receives is, "I'm in conflict, I'm fragmented, I don't trust what I'm feeling." That is the signal that gets amplified and reflected back to you. This is why spiritual bypass, using spiritual concepts to avoid dealing with genuine emotional pain, is so counterproductive to manifestation. It creates a split between your inner experience and outer presentation. It teaches you to distrust your emotional wisdom, and it keeps you stuck in patterns you're not allowed to acknowledge, let alone transform. True coherence doesn't come from suppressing difficult emotions. It comes from being with them, from allowing them to move through you without resistance. Emotions are energy in motion. That's literally what the word means. When you allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, the emotion completes its cycle and releases. When you suppress or deny emotions, they get trapped in your body, creating chronic tension and incoherence that broadcasts continuously. There's a concept in psychology called constructive disintegration. It suggests that sometimes you have to fall apart to come back together at a higher level of integration. The old structure of your identity and beliefs has to break down before a new, more authentic structure can form. This process is uncomfortable, but it's not pathological. It's necessary for growth. The same is true for emotional processing. Sometimes you need to feel the full depth of your sadness to move through it. Sometimes you need to express your anger to release it. Sometimes you need to acknowledge your fear to discover what's on the other side of it. This is not wallowing. This is not indulging in negativity. This is emotional maturity. And here's what's remarkable. When you allow yourself to fully feel and process difficult emotions, something shifts. The charge dissipates, the resistance dissolves, and you often spontaneously move into a state of peace or clarity that's far more authentic than any forced positive thinking could create. That genuine peace, that authentic clarity, that's the frequency that manifests powerfully. Let me give you a concrete example. Say you're feeling anxious about money. The positive thinking approach says, stop thinking about lack, focus on abundance, visualize wealth. So you try to override your anxiety with visualization, but the anxiety doesn't go away. It just goes underground, where it continues to broadcast its frequency while you're consciously trying to broadcast abundance. The result is incoherence and mixed manifestations. The alternative approach is to turn toward the anxiety, to ask it, what are you trying to tell me? What are you afraid of? When you do this with genuine curiosity and compassion, you often discover that the anxiety is related to an old experience. Maybe as a child you watched your parents fight about money, and you formed a belief that money equals conflict. Maybe you tried to help financially and couldn't, and you developed shame around your inability to provide. When you uncover these deeper associations, when you feel the original pain that created the anxiety, something shifts. The pattern loses its grip because you've brought consciousness to it. You've validated the emotion instead of fighting it. And from that place of integration, you can make new choices. You can update the old belief with adult perspective. You can reassure the part of you that's scared. This process creates genuine coherence because now all parts of you are acknowledged and integrated. You're not at war with yourself. You're not trying to override one part with another. You're bringing everything into dialogue, into alignment, into a unified field of awareness. Now, does this mean you should dwell in negative emotions? Should you ruminate on worst-case scenarios or actively cultivate despair? Of course not. There's a difference between feeling emotions and feeding them with repetitive negative thinking. There's a difference between processing pain and identifying with it as your permanent state. The key is presence. When you're present with an emotion, you're observing it, feeling it in your body, allowing it to move without getting lost in the stories your mind tells about it. When you're ruminating, you're in your head, spinning narratives, reinforcing neural pathways of suffering. Presence allows emotions to complete their cycle. Rumination keeps them alive indefinitely. So the practice is not positive thinking, it's honest feeling combined with conscious choice. You allow yourself to feel whatever is present without judgment. You give it space, give it breath, give it acknowledgement. And then once the charge has dissipated, you consciously choose where to place your attention. You choose thoughts and perspectives that serve you. But this choosing comes from a place of integration, not suppression. This might sound subtle, but the energetic difference is profound. When you force positive thinking over negative emotion, you create a brittle, unstable frequency. It takes constant effort to maintain, and it cracks under pressure. When you integrate the emotion and then choose empowering perspectives, you create a resilient, authentic frequency. It can weather challenges because it's not based on denial. And here's something most manifestation teachers won't tell you. Sometimes the universe brings you challenges not as punishment for wrong thinking, but as opportunities to clear old patterns that are preventing your evolution. That health scare might be showing you where you're neglecting self-care. That relationship ending might be revealing your pattern of abandoning yourself to please others. That financial setback might be exposing your unconscious belief that you don't deserve security. These challenges are not evidence that you're manifesting wrong. They're invitations to deepen your coherence by addressing the unconscious signals that have been running your life. If you interpret every difficulty as failure and try to positive think your way out of it, you miss the gift. But if you can be with the difficulty, extract the lesson, and integrate the wisdom, you emerge with a clearer, more powerful broadcast. This is the paradox of manifestation that the superficial teachings miss. Sometimes you manifest your desires not by avoiding all negativity, but by moving through the necessary challenges with presence and learning what they're here to teach you. The universe is not punishing you for imperfect thinking. It's conspiring to help you become more whole, more coherent, more aligned with your true nature. And your true nature is not a state of artificial positivity. It's a state of authentic presence where you can feel the full spectrum of human experience without being overwhelmed by it, where you can hold both sadness and joy, both fear and courage, both uncertainty and trust. That wholeness, that integrated presence, that's the frequency that moves mountains. Now that we've explored the science of your electromagnetic nature and the psychology of unconscious signals, it's time to bring this into practice, because understanding is only valuable if it translates into embodied experience. Coherence is not something you think your way into. It's something you practice your way into through consistent attention and gentle realignment of your system. The practice of coherence has three fundamental components: heart coherence, mental clarity, and somatic integration. When all three are aligned, you're broadcasting a unified signal. When anyone is out of alignment, the entire system loses power. Let's explore each component and how to cultivate it. Heart coherence, the foundation. Your heart is the most powerful broadcaster in your electromagnetic system. It sets the baseline frequency that the rest of your body entrains to. When your heart rhythm is erratic, your entire nervous system follows that chaos. When your heart rhythm is smooth and ordered, your whole system settles into coherence. The fastest way to shift into heart coherence is through a specific breathing pattern combined with focused emotion. Here's how it works. Sit comfortably and bring your attention to the center of your chest. Imagine that you're breathing directly through your heart space. Inhale slowly for a count of 5. Exhale slowly for a count of 5. This 10-1-1 ratio, done at a pace of about 6 breaths per minute, activates your parasympathetic nervous system and begins to organize your heart rhythm. But breathing alone is not enough. The real power comes when you add emotion to this practice. As you continue breathing, bring to mind something or someone you genuinely appreciate, not something you think you should appreciate, something that naturally evokes a warm, open feeling when you focus on it. Maybe it's a person you love, a pet, a beautiful place in nature, or a moment of kindness you experienced. Let yourself feel that appreciation in your body. Notice where you sense it, perhaps as warmth in your chest, relaxation in your shoulders, a softening in your face. This combination of rhythmic breathing and authentic positive emotion is what the HeartMath researchers call the quick coherence technique, and it's been shown to shift heart rate variability patterns into coherence within a matter of minutes. But here's what makes this practice profound rather than just another relaxation technique. When you establish heart coherence, you're not just calming yourself. You're creating a stable electromagnetic field that extends beyond your body. You're setting up a resonant frequency that the quantum field can entrain to. You're becoming a tuning fork that causes other aspects of your reality to begin vibrating at a similar frequency. Mental clarity, the director. Once you've established heart coherence, the next layer is mental clarity. This is about learning to work with your attention rather than being at the mercy of your thoughts. Your brain generates approximately 70 thoughts per day, most of them repetitive and unconscious. These thoughts are not neutral. Each one carries an electromagnetic signature, and collectively they create a pattern. The practice here is not to control your thoughts. That's exhausting and impossible. It's to become aware of where your attention habitually goes and to practice redirecting it when you notice it's creating incoherence. Think of your attention like a flashlight. Wherever you point it, that's what gets illuminated and energized. If you habitually point it at problems, worries, and what's wrong, those aspects of your reality become amplified in your experience. The practice is simple, but not easy. Throughout your day, notice where your attention is. When you catch yourself in a repetitive thought loop about something you're anxious about, acknowledge it. I see I'm worrying about this again, and then consciously redirect. Not by suppressing the thought, but by choosing something more useful to focus on. This might be a question. What would serve me better to think about right now? It might be a perspective shift. This challenge is also an opportunity to develop resilience. Or it might simply be bringing yourself back to the present moment. Right now in this actual moment, what's here that's okay? Over time, this practice rewires your brain. You're literally creating new neural pathways, new defaults for where your attention goes. The brain changes through repetition. The more you practice redirecting your attention from unhelpful patterns to useful ones, the more automatic those new patterns become. Eventually, your baseline mental state shifts from one of worry or problem focus to one of present moment awareness and possibility orientation. But again, this is not positive thinking. You're not pretending problems don't exist. You're simply not making them the entire focus of your consciousness when they don't need to be. You're freeing up mental energy to notice solutions, resources, and opportunities that were always there but invisible when you were fixated on the problem. Somatic integration, the messenger. The third component of coherence is somatic integration, bringing your physical body into alignment with your heart and mind. Your body is not just a vehicle for your consciousness. It's an intelligent system with its own memory, its own patterns, its own way of communicating. Trauma and emotion get stored in the body as chronic tension, restricted breathing, postural patterns, and autonomic nervous system dysregulation. You can have a coherent heart rhythm and clear mental focus, but if your body is locked in a protective posture, shoulders hunched, jaw clenched, belly tight, you're still broadcasting a signal of defense and contraction. The practice of somatic integration involves developing body awareness and learning to release held tension consciously. This can take many forms: gentle movement, conscious breath work, progressive muscle relaxation, yoga, dance, or simply placing your attention on areas of tension and breathing into them with the intention of softening. One powerful practice is the body scan. Lying down or sitting comfortably, bring your attention to your feet. Notice any sensations: temperature, pressure, tingling, numbness. Don't try to change anything, just observe. Then move your attention up through your legs, pelvis, belly, chest, arms, shoulders, neck, and head. Where do you notice tension? Where do you feel ease? As you scan, breathe into any areas of tightness or discomfort. Imagine your breath carrying warmth and space into those areas. Often, simply bringing conscious attention to chronic tension begins to release it. The body has been holding these patterns unconsciously, waiting for you to notice. When you finally do, you can let go. But sometimes tension persists because it's serving a function. That tight jaw might be holding back words you've never been allowed to say. Those hunched shoulders might be protecting a heart that learned it wasn't safe to be vulnerable. These somatic patterns are not just physical, they're emotional and psychological defenses that got encoded in the body. When you encounter tension that won't release, try bringing curiosity to it instead of force. Ask the tension, what are you protecting me from? What do you need me to know? This might sound strange, but your body has intelligence. When you address it with respect and genuine inquiry, it often responds with insights, not in words, but in feelings, images, or sudden understanding. This dialogue between consciousness and soma is essential for true coherence. You're not overriding your body's wisdom, you're partnering with it. You're saying, I see you. I appreciate that you've been trying to keep me safe. Let's find a better way together. This creates integration rather than conflict. The daily coherence ritual. Now let's bring these three components together into a simple daily practice. You don't need hours. 15 minutes of genuine practice is more valuable than an hour of distracted going through the motions. Here's a structure you can adapt to your own needs. Minutes 1 to 5, heart coherence. Sit comfortably. Breathe in a 5-5 rhythm through your heart space. Bring to mind something you genuinely appreciate. Feel that appreciation as fully as you can. Let it fill your chest, radiate through your body. Minutes 6 to 10, mental clarity. From this coherent state, become aware of your thoughts. What's your mind doing? Is it planning, worrying, reviewing? Without judgment, notice the pattern. Then consciously set an intention for your day, not a desperate wish, but a clear statement of how you want to show up. Today, I'm open to unexpected solutions. Today, I trust my capacity to handle whatever arises. Let this intention settle into your system. Minutes 11 to 15, somatic integration. Do a quick body scan. Where are you holding tension? Breathe into those areas. Gently stretch or move in ways that feel good. If you're carrying stress from the previous day, consciously release it with your exhale. Imagine any stagnant energy leaving your system and fresh energy flowing in. Close by taking 3 deep breaths and acknowledging yourself for taking this time. This acknowledgement matters. You're training your system to recognize that coherence is a priority, that you're worthy of the time it takes to align yourself. There's a particular flavor of suffering that's unique to manifestation practice, and it goes like this. You learn about the power of intention. You get excited about the possibility of creating your life consciously. You set your desires, you visualize, you affirm, and then nothing happens. Or worse, things seem to move in the opposite direction of what you want. So you double down, you try harder, you visualize longer, you repeat your affirmations with more intensity, you create more vision boards, write more lists, do more rituals, and still, nothing shifts. Or maybe you get brief glimpses of movement, a promising opportunity appears but then falls through. Someone expresses interest in you romantically, but then disappears. Money comes in, but immediately goes out. At this point, you're exhausted. You feel like you're doing everything right, but the universe is ignoring you or actively working against you. You might start to question whether manifestation works at all, or whether it works for other people, but not for you. You might decide you're broken, cursed, or fundamentally unworthy of good things. What's actually happening is this. You're operating from a paradigm of force rather than flow. And force, no matter how well-intentioned, creates resistance. Let me explain why. When you try to manifest from a place of desperation, when you need the thing to happen because you believe you can't be okay without it, you're broadcasting 2 signals simultaneously. The first signal is the desire for the thing. The second signal is the belief that you're incomplete without it. And that second signal is actually louder than the first. The quantum field doesn't respond to your conscious words or visualizations. It responds to your state. And when your state is one of lack, when you're trying to use manifestation to fix a feeling of deficiency, the field reflects that lack back to you, not as punishment, but as resonance. The universe is always saying yes to what you are, not what you're trying to become. This is the paradox that confuses people. You must desire the thing enough to set an intention for it, but you must simultaneously be okay without it. You must care and not care at the same time. You must hold the vision while releasing attachment to how and when it arrives. This sounds like a contradiction, but it's actually the key to allowing manifestation to flow. Let me give you a framework that might help clarify this. There are 3 energetic states you can operate from when working with intention. State 1, desperate reaching. This is when you want something so badly that it consumes you. You think about it constantly. You strategize how to make it happen. You check for signs of progress obsessively. Your whole identity becomes wrapped up in whether this thing manifests. From this state, you're broadcasting lack. You're telling the universe, I'm not whole without this. My happiness depends on getting this. I don't trust that I'll be okay if this doesn't work out. That signal of lack, that energetic of desperate grasping, actually pushes the thing away. Not because the universe is cruel, but because your frequency is incoherent. You're divided against yourself, wanting the thing but feeling incomplete without it. State 2, detached indifference. Some people, in reaction to learning that attachment creates resistance, swing to the opposite extreme. They try to not want anything. They convince themselves they don't care about outcomes. They create a kind of spiritual bypass where they're above having desires. But this is also incoherent because it's not authentic. You do care. You do have preferences. Pretending you don't is just another form of suppression. And the field can tell the difference between genuine peace and pretended indifference. One broadcasts freedom, the other broadcasts resignation. State 3, aligned, allowing. This is the sweet spot. This is when you clearly know what you desire, you can feel into the experience of having it, and you hold that vision with clarity and focus. But simultaneously, you're okay right now. You're complete in this moment. You trust that whether this specific thing manifests or something even better comes, you'll be fine. From this state, you're broadcasting coherence. You're saying, I know what I want, and I'm open to receiving it. But my okayness doesn't depend on it. I'm whole right now, and this desire is simply an expression of growth and expansion, not a fix for lack. That signal of wholeness, combined with clear intention, creates a powerful magnetic pull. The irony is that the things you stop needing are the things that often show up most effortlessly. When you release the desperate grip, when you stop making your happiness conditional on this specific outcome, you create space for it to arrive. But you also create space for something better to arrive instead, something you couldn't have imagined when you were fixated on one particular form. This is why surrender is often the final step in manifestation. Not giving up on your desires, but releasing your death grip on exactly how they need to look, saying to the universe, this or something better, in this form or in a form I can't yet perceive, in this timeline or in divine timing. But surrender is not something you can fake. You can't strategically surrender as a manifestation technique. Okay, I'll pretend I don't care so the universe will give it to me. That's still manipulation, still force. True surrender comes from a genuine recognition that you are already whole, that your value doesn't depend on external circumstances, that life is happening for you rather than to you. So how do you get to this state of aligned allowing? It's not through gritting your teeth and trying to not want things. It's through the practices we've already discussed, creating coherence in your system, processing the unconscious beliefs that make you feel incomplete, cultivating a baseline of trust and presence. When you do this work, something interesting happens. Your desires don't go away, but their flavor changes. They stop feeling like desperate needs and start feeling like exciting preferences. You can imagine having the thing and feel genuine joy about it, but you can also imagine not having it and still feel peace. That's the frequency of allowing. And from this frequency, manifestation becomes playful rather than pressured. You can set intentions, take aligned action, and watch with curiosity to see how things unfold. You're participating in creation rather than trying to control it. You're dancing with life rather than wrestling it into submission. This doesn't mean you become passive. Aligned action is still action, but it flows from inspiration rather than desperation. You move when you feel the impulse, when something lights you up, when an opportunity resonates. You don't force yourself through exhausting strategies that feel like pushing a boulder uphill. And you learn to recognize the difference between resistance from the universe and resistance from your own fear. Sometimes when you move toward a desire and encounter obstacles, it's because the path isn't aligned. The universe is redirecting you towards something better. But sometimes the obstacles are just your old patterns activating, your fear trying to keep you in the familiar. The way to tell the difference is through your body. When it's true resistance, when the path genuinely isn't aligned, there's a heaviness, a contraction, a sense of pushing against something solid. When it's just fear, there's anxiety, yes, but there's also aliveness, excitement, expansion underneath the fear. Your body knows the difference even when your mind doesn't. So the invitation is to stop forcing. Stop trying so hard to make things happen. Instead, focus on becoming the frequency of what you desire. If you want loving relationships, become a loving presence. If you want abundance, cultivate a sense of inner richness. If you want creative success, embody creative expression regardless of outcomes. This is not about waiting passively for things to fall in your lap. It's about recognizing that you attract through being, not through doing. And when you are coherently being the frequency of your desire, the aligned actions naturally arise. You don't have to figure them out or force them. They flow from your state. We've covered a lot of territory: quantum physics, electromagnetic fields, unconscious signals, coherence practices, and the paradox of allowing. Now it's time to bring all of this into a practical integration, because transformation doesn't happen through understanding alone. It happens through embodied practice repeated consistently until new patterns become natural. This integration practice is designed to help you move from conceptual understanding to direct experience. It's not a one-time exercise. It's a framework you can return to daily, weekly, whenever you notice yourself falling into old patterns of force, whenever you feel disconnected from your power, whenever you need to realign your signal. Part 1. The inventory. 5 to 10 minutes. Begin by taking inventory of your current state without judgment. This is crucial. Most people, when they try to create change, start by denying where they actually are. They pretend they're more positive than they feel, more certain than they are, more aligned than their nervous system indicates. This creates immediate incoherence. Instead, give yourself permission to acknowledge what's actually true for you right now. Sit comfortably, close your eyes if that feels right, and ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Don't look for the spiritual answer or the positive answer. Look for the honest answer. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're frustrated that manifestation seems to work for others, but not for you. Maybe you're scared that this won't work either. Maybe you're hopeful, but guarded. Whatever it is, let it be there. What am I believing right now? This is subtle. Beneath your feelings are often beliefs. I'm feeling frustrated might be sitting on top of, I believe this is taking too long, or I believe I must be doing something wrong. Can you identify the belief beneath the feeling? What is my body telling me? Do a quick scan. Where are you holding tension? How's your breath, shallow or deep? Is your belly soft or tight? Your body is always broadcasting your true state. Listen to it. This inventory is not about fixing anything yet. It's about creating a baseline of honest awareness. You're saying to yourself, this is where I actually am, and that's okay. I don't have to be somewhere else to start this practice. Part 2. The compassionate witness. 3 to 5 minutes. Now, from this place of honest awareness, practice being a compassionate witness to your own experience. This is about cultivating a relationship with yourself that's kind rather than critical, curious rather than judgmental. Look at whatever you discovered in your inventory, the frustration, the doubt, the fatigue, the fear, and instead of trying to change it or spiritually bypass it, simply acknowledge it. You might place a hand on your heart and say internally, I see that you're frustrated. I see that you're scared. That makes sense given what you've been through. This might feel unfamiliar if you're used to immediately trying to fix or change uncomfortable feelings. But this step is essential. Your unconscious patterns persist partly because they've never been truly seen and validated. They're like children acting out because they need attention. When you finally give them that attention with kindness, they often soften on their own. Spend a few minutes just being with whatever's present. Breathe with it. Let it be exactly as it is. You might notice that simply being witnessed with compassion, the emotional charge begins to dissipate, not because you're suppressing it, but because it's finally been acknowledged. Part 3. The inquiry. 5 to 7 minutes. From this softened space, you can now engage in gentle inquiry. This is where you start to update the unconscious beliefs that have been running your reality. Ask yourself, what would I need to believe to feel the way I want to feel? If you're feeling stuck, what belief would free you? If you're feeling unworthy, what belief would allow you to feel inherently valuable? If you're feeling powerless, what belief would restore your sense of agency? Don't reach for a belief that feels completely untrue. That creates more incoherence. Instead, look for a belief that's just slightly more empowering than where you are, something that feels like a stretch but not impossible. For example, if you're believing nothing ever works out for me, you might not be able to jump to everything always works out perfectly. But you might be able to reach for sometimes things work out in ways I don't expect, or I've gotten through every challenge so far. Once you've identified this belief, test it in your body. Say it to yourself and notice how your system responds. Does it create a sense of opening, of yes, I can feel into that? Or does it create resistance, a sense of I'm just trying to convince myself of something I don't believe? Keep adjusting until you find a belief that your body can resonate with, even if it's just a little bit. Then spend some time breathing that belief into your system. Let it settle. Imagine what it would be like if this were your dominant perspective. Part 4. The embodiment. 5 to 7 minutes. Now we move from belief to embodiment. This is about generating the feeling state of your desire in your body right now, not as something you'll experience someday when circumstances change, but as something you can access in this present moment. Ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire was already fulfilled? If you're desiring financial abundance, how would your body feel? Would you be more relaxed? Would your breath be deeper? Would there be less tension in your shoulders because you're not carrying worry? If you're desiring a loving relationship, what's the quality of that feeling? Is it warmth in your chest? Is it a sense of being seen and valued? Is it peace? The key is to find the emotional essence of your desire, not the external form, but the internal experience it would create. Then practice generating that feeling in your body right now. This is not pretending. It's not fake it till you make it. It's accessing a state that's genuinely available to you when you're not making it conditional on circumstances. You might bring to mind memories of times you felt this way before. You might imagine scenarios that evoke this feeling. You might simply breathe and intend the feeling into being. However you do it, spend several minutes marinating in this state. Let it become familiar. Let your nervous system recognize, oh, this is available to me. I don't have to wait for circumstances to change to feel this way. This is powerful because you're literally rewiring your electromagnetic broadcast. You're shifting from the frequency of lack, I'll feel good when I get the thing, to the frequency of fulfillment. I can feel good now, and from this state, I attract what matches it. Part 5. The release. 2 to 3 minutes. Finally, practice release. This is where you take your clarified desire, your coherent feeling state, and you offer it to the field with open hands. You're not clutching it desperately. You're not trying to control how or when it manifests. You're simply saying, this is what I desire. I trust the intelligence of life to bring it in the form and timing that serves my highest good. You might visualize yourself placing your desire into the hands of the universe. You might imagine it as a bird you're releasing to fly. You might simply exhale and let it go. The key is to genuinely release the outcome, to trust that you've set the signal, and now you can relax. The field has received your broadcast. Your job now is to maintain the frequency, to stay in coherence, to follow inspired impulses, and to let the universe handle the details. After you release, sit for a moment in openness. Notice if there's any sense of relief, of spaciousness, of trust. That's the frequency of allowing. That's where manifestation flows from. Part 6. The return. 1 minute. Close this practice by taking 3 deep breaths and acknowledging yourself. You've just done something significant. You've created a moment of coherence, updated old patterns, and broadcast a new signal. That matters, even if you don't see immediate external results. As you return to your day, see if you can carry a thread of this coherence with you. When you notice yourself slipping back into old patterns, worry, force, doubt, you can return to this practice. It's not about being perfect. It's about consistently choosing to realign, to come back to center, to remember that you are the broadcaster and you can adjust your signal, making it sustainable. The biggest mistake people make with practices like this is doing them once or twice, not seeing immediate miraculous results, and giving up. But lasting change happens through repetition. Your nervous system learns through consistency, not through dramatic one-time experiences. I recommend doing this integration practice daily for at least 21 days. That's the minimum time for new neural pathways to begin forming. But ideally, make it a permanent part of your routine, like brushing your teeth. You're cleaning up your signal, maintaining your coherence, updating your broadcast. Over time, you'll notice that the practice becomes easier. The coherent state that once required effort becomes more natural. The beliefs that once felt like a stretch become your new baseline, and most importantly, your external reality begins to shift in ways that reflect your internal transformation. This is not magic. This is physics applied through practice. You are an electromagnetic being, and you're learning to work with your field consciously rather than unconsciously. The results will speak for themselves. We've come a long way together in this exploration. We started with the recognition that you are always broadcasting a signal, whether you're aware of it or not. We explored the science behind that signal, the electromagnetic fields of your heart and brain, the quantum principles of observation and coherence, the neuroscience of unconscious programming. We dismantled some of the myths that make manifestation feel impossible. The myth of positive thinking, the myth that you have to be perfect, the myth that you can force outcomes through sheer willpower. And we've offered practical frameworks and exercises for cultivating coherence, for aligning the conscious and unconscious layers of your being so that your broadcast becomes unified and powerful. But ultimately, all of this comes down to a choice you make in each moment. The choice to become aware of your signal. The choice to take responsibility for the frequency you're broadcasting. The choice to do the inner work required to shift from incoherent, unconscious transmission to coherent, conscious creation. This is not easy work. It would be much more comfortable to believe that manifestation is just about saying the right words or visualizing hard enough that you can stay unconscious of your deeper patterns and still get what you want. But comfort and transformation rarely coexist. Growth happens at the edge of the familiar, in the willingness to look at what you've been avoiding, to feel what you've been suppressing, to question what you've been assuming. And yet, this work is not punishing. When approached with compassion rather than self-judgment, with curiosity rather than criticism, the process of becoming aware of your unconscious signals and bringing them into coherence can be profoundly liberating. Because you're not becoming someone new. You're uncovering who you actually are beneath the layers of conditioning, protection, and limitation. Your true nature is not fragmented. It's not incoherent. Your essential being, the consciousness that animates this body and personality, is a unified field of awareness. The incoherence you experience is not fundamental to who you are. It's the result of trauma, conditioning, and survival strategies that were necessary once but may no longer serve you. As you practice coherence, as you align the different layers of your being, you're not creating something that doesn't exist. You're remembering and embodying something that's always been true. You are already whole. You are already connected to the quantum field. You are already powerful beyond measure. The work is simply to remove the static, to clear the interference, to let your true signal broadcast clearly. And when that happens, when you operate from genuine coherence even a fraction of the time, life begins to feel different. Not because external circumstances have necessarily changed, though they often do, but because your relationship to life has changed. You move from feeling like a victim of random events to recognizing yourself as a conscious participant in an intelligent universe. Synchronicities multiply. Opportunities appear, the right people show up at the right time, resources flow, challenges that once seemed insurmountable become manageable or even interesting. This is not magical thinking. This is what happens when your signal becomes clear and the field can respond efficiently to what you're broadcasting. But even more important than manifesting specific desires is the shift in your internal experience. When you're operating from coherence, life feels more spacious. There's less struggle, fewer moments of desperation or forcing, more trust, more presence, more ability to be with what is, while simultaneously holding a vision for what could be. You start to recognize that you're not separate from the universe trying to manipulate it into giving you things. You are an expression of the universe becoming aware of itself. Your desires are not external to the field. They arise from the field as impulses toward growth, evolution, expression. When you align with them from a place of coherence rather than lack, you're participating in the universe's natural inclination toward increasing complexity and consciousness. This is why the work of manifestation is ultimately spiritual work, not in a religious sense, but in the sense of remembering your true nature. You are not just this body, this personality, this collection of preferences and fears. You are consciousness itself, temporarily localized, playing in the field of matter and energy, learning, growing, creating. When you fully grasp this, not just intellectually but experientially, the question of whether you can manifest what you desire is almost silly. Of course you can. You're always manifesting. You're always broadcasting and receiving. The only question is whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously, coherently or incoherently. So as you move forward from this video, I invite you to carry this awareness with you. In each moment, you have a choice. You can react unconsciously, letting old patterns run the show. Or you can pause, take a breath, return to your heart, and choose the signal you want to broadcast. You can continue believing the stories that keep you small, or you can question them, update them, integrate the wisdom of your experiences without being defined by your wounds. You can force and push and exhaust yourself trying to make things happen. Or you can relax into coherence, trust the intelligence of the field, and take aligned action from a place of inspiration rather than desperation. The universe is always listening, not to your words, not to your visualizations, but to the totality of what you are being in each moment. And what you are being is always being broadcast through your electromagnetic field, always interacting with the quantum field of infinite possibility. So become aware, take responsibility, practice coherence, update your unconscious programming. Generate the feeling states of your desires before circumstances change. Release attachment to specific outcomes while maintaining clarity about your intentions. Trust the process even when you can't see the results yet. This is the path, not of magical manifestation, but of conscious creation, not of getting what you want through tricks and techniques, but of becoming the frequency of what you desire and allowing life to reflect that back to you. Thank you for taking this journey with me. If this resonated with you, if you felt something shift in your understanding or your body as we explored these ideas, then stay connected. Subscribe to this channel, not to collect more information, but to continue deepening your practice, to remind yourself of these principles when old patterns try to pull you back, to be part of a community committed to conscious creation. And most importantly, practice, not once in a while when you remember, but daily, consistently, with patience and compassion for yourself when you forget, when you slip into old patterns, when coherence feels impossible. Because every moment of practice matters, every time you return to your heart, to your center, to conscious awareness of the signal you're broadcasting. That's a vote for the reality you're choosing to create. The votes accumulate, the frequency stabilizes, and reality responds. You are more powerful than you've been taught to believe. You are more connected than you feel. You are more whole than you remember. This is not motivation, this is truth. And the more you practice coherence, the more you'll experience this truth directly, not as a concept, but as lived reality. Keep practicing, keep broadcasting consciously, keep trusting that the universe is not separate from you, but is working through you, as you for the evolution of consciousness itself. Until we meet again, stay present, stay coherent, and remember, you are the signal you seek.